Good morning, everybody. Hope you all are doing well. Hit all the buttons, make sure everybody's recording all the places. Hope you're doing well. This is Hector Mirai with the Faith and Fandom Feedback Friday podcast, where we go over the news from the last week, as well as uh, just checking in with each other, doing some encouragements. When we get done with the news, we'll do a Bible reading where we roll dice to see what chapter and verses that we're reading from. Good morning. Good morning. If you are watching on Instagram, it's also broadcast live on Facebook. And if you're catching some of it and you want to catch all of it, it will also be available on our podcast channel and YouTube this morning as well. But I hope y'all are doing well. Lots going on this weekend, a lot that has happened this week. And uh, we're going to jump into all those things in 1 minute. Good morning, Maggie Taco. Nice. I like your name. Um, Instagram, y'all are going to hold on for 1 minute and I'm going to be right back because I'm a dork and I forgot to send something. So I'm going to do that real quick. Hang on. This will probably like kick y'all off, but I'll be right back. Um, but everybody else, I hope you're doing real well. I hope that you've had a lot of encouragement this week and that God has given you just some peace and some encouragement with everything that's been going on. And because I know it's been chunky. Um, and yeah, I know it's been real chunky for everybody else. And I just hope that you can be in a place where you find some peace and some encouragement. Come, you guys are being dorks. Sorry, I thought I was 100% prepared and I wasn't. And that is all my fault. But it's okay. If y'all wanted like more professional news, I'm sure you could turn other places. Let's close these out. I'm gonna have to go back to Instagram. I left Instagram behind. Um, but yeah, I've been trying to do a thing where when I share the news, um, like the actual my notes and everything, that I do it by sending it to my messenger and reading it off my laptop, and I just failed at doing that. So that is all me. Um, Good morning, Kelly. Hope you're doing well. Just some not news that I can tell you while I'm actually setting up my news notes. Um, First of all, today I'm going to be leaving for Greensboro Comic Con. Um, it's a technically it's just a 1 day show in Greensboro, North Carolina, and but I'm going to set up today because it's a much better option than not because there is just a ton of stuff going on. First of all, the show is downtown Greensboro, which is its own special level of a lot going on. It's at the Marriott downtown Greensboro. Second, um, tomorrow, Saturday morning, is the Pride Festival for Greensboro, which is also going to be happening at the same time. And trying to navigate traffic and taking a large portion of boxes and things of that nature um, is just it's just a lot uh, to be able to transport that much stuff and get it through people. So yeah, gonna go up tonight and set up tonight so that I can actually make it all the way through um, and load up. And it's what's weird is their setup hours tonight are from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. So I can't even set up like at a kind of decent time frame Um, I got to set up, like pretty late in the day. But it's okay because it's how it goes, and um, I'm not mad at it. It's just an awkward setup for time. But uh, also, uh, gonna be this is going to be me trying to dual wield a con because while I'm going to be set up at Greensboro for the show, I'm also going to be doing a panel for FaithCon on sharing the love of Jesus in con spaces. So I'm going to be at a con while also digitally at a con talking about how you share love at a con. So all the things in all the places. So it's going to be a fun day. It'll be a fun experience. But that being said, I'm almost done with all these shenanigans right here. So come on, guys. Something's not letting me do the stuff I want to do. One, two, three. But yeah, that's going to be how it is. It's going to be a double wielding setup for this show, and I'm hoping it'll be okay. Um, because that also means I need proper internet, and I tried to take one of my kids with me to help me run the booth so that it could be kind of manned when I'm doing the panel, but it will literally be okay either way. Um, it will be. Share messenger. I'm so sorry I'm taking time getting all these news stories out. Tristan, good morning, dude. Um, but yeah, it's a thing. It's gonna be good though. So how's y'all's morning? Hope you've been good. It has been definitely a tumultuous week in news and things of that nature, and I hope that your hearts have been okay in the process. Just of everything everybody else is going through. I think I stopped here. Two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight. Trying to make sure I got all our news stories covered. Two, two. And for y'all listening on the audio, I'm probably gonna cut all this out and you'll never hear it. It's okay. But yeah, there was a ton of news stories this week. And not all positive, and I'm probably not gonna talk about half the stuff that's in my notes, but you know, it'll be okay. I also finally started designing some new stickers. I haven't designed stickers in a minute, and with the release of the 21 Pilots album, there's a couple designs that I wanted to work on. Um, Also, depending on how today goes, I'm going to have a Superman chapter ready to go by the end of the day. We'll see how it goes. All right, that worked. And you got to be at Duke at 10 a.m. on Monday. This is for your heart catheterization, correct, Kelly? Sorry if I wasn't supposed to say that on the internet, but um, I'll be praying for you, bro. I know that's uh, a lot and a lot of pressure that goes with that. All right, this should do it. We'll be all done. Oh man, there's something in the first 20 news notes that just does not want to be sent over. Tristan says, yes, the person from Beneath the Tangles will be too. Um, I don't know how to say that properly, but yes, they will be. Um, there's a lot of good people involved in it. And I'm honored to be part of it. Um, I'm grateful they were thinking of me. But yeah, it's gonna be a process. All right, all these notes should be over. Done. All right. All right. We're gonna add the Instagram crowd back in here and jump right on because I failed them with my lack of preparation. Hopefully they'll forgive me. But yeah, Instagram. All right. All right. We got Instagram back. Tweak. You just okay, you do say it like tweak. Okay, cool. Instagram, welcome back. Sorry for being slow and not getting everything out sooner. We are going to kick straight off into the news since I've delayed so much and slowed everybody down with that. Hope you forgive me. All right, into the news. Into the news, out of the woods, all the things. If you have a teenage daughter or you have the interests of a teenager, The Summer I Turned Pretty has been dominating Netflix streaming for a few weeks as the adaptation of the book and has been going on. It reached its finale this week, and they are going to be furthering that with a movie. And so the Summer I Turned Pretty movie is officially happening, and that's going to be going on. Uh, and that's going to be pretty big for the people that genuinely care about that franchise. And let's see. Uh, we're gonna, it's pretty impossible right now to not talk about Charlie Kirk and the Charlie Kirk situation as we're going through news. So again, be nice to each other in the comments, be kind, and be respectful, and not everybody shares your same views and thoughts when it comes to people and stuff and things like that. So just throwing that out there. Um, Forrest Frank, the Christian pop worship artist in general, um, said that he lost 30,000 followers almost instantly this week when he shared a video that Charlie Kirk had spoken about him, saying that he was beneficial to young people and said that he was praying for his family. And once he posted that video, he said that he lost 30,000 followers like out the gate. He says he doesn't have any regrets with that, but still, that's a pretty dramatic turn. This week, Chris Pratt just went to the internet to pray with people and ask them to be still and to allow God to calm them and to calm all the craziness that's going on. Good morning. So that happened this week, and that got a pretty good response overall. In Pennsylvania, in York County, uh, three police officers were killed and two more were injured during a gun battle in the York County area. It was outside of a Pennsylvania school, and so three officers were killed and two more were wounded. Uh, Researchers in uh, at and boy, I'm saying this name wrong. Anglia Ruskin University have studied more than 7,000 adults. And out of the 7,000 adults they have studied, they have determined that people who watch sports, whether it be on TV or in person, have better mental health, stating that they have a higher satisfaction of life, they feel less lonely, and they have fewer symptoms of depression than those who don't. So, but in the same article, they also made jokes that this doesn't count if you're a Carolina Panthers fan because we're not great. But they said that enjoying sports and watching sports can add to the quality of your life and help fight depression. So go team. Yay, sports balls. Um, so that is good. Let's see. One of the things that happened this past week with the Emmys was that Nate Bargatze, if I'm saying his name right, announced that in order to keep people from taking too long with their acceptance speeches, that he was going to not penalize them, but that he was going to uh, take away from a donation to the Boys and Girls Club for every second they went over, they would lose $1,000 for every second that acceptance speeches went over. And that they was going to start out with $100,000 donation, and for every second they'd lose $1,000. And this did cause some people to actually be a little more proactive in how quickly their speeches went, even to the point where they had uh, kids from the Boys and Girls Club stand on the side of the stage and look sad if their speeches were going over. They ended up going obviously into the negative numbers because that only was going to be 100 seconds. But at the end of the day, Nate Bargatze donated $250,000 to the Boys and Girls Club himself from that process. And so he donated $250,000 and CBS donated $100,000. So they got a $350,000 donation out of the Emmys with that. But the Boys and Girls Club said that it put them on a national attention they hadn't received in a while. And they said that their donations have almost completely doubled since the Emmys. So that was a win overall, and it was a positive way of doing it. So that's great. Uh, if you are familiar, a few years back, there was a nightmare of a festival called the Fire Festival, like that happened on Fire Island outside of New York. And uh, good morning. Uh, and when the arcades as they're running to the bank soon. God bless you. Um, but the people that ran the fire festival, it was notorious. There were different documentaries about it and different variations. There's even an attempt to start planning a second one. It didn't go well, but they were selling the rights to the fire festival for someone else to try again. Ryan Reynolds was one of the bidders for the fire festival, but Ryan Reynolds lost the fire festival bid to LimeWire. Yes. If you're thinking, what, that LimeWire, the LimeWire that's responsible for, you know, like ripping CDs, downloading MP3s in the early 2000s, yes. LimeWire purchased and outbid Ryan Reynolds for the Fire Festival. So that's a scary thought to see what LimeWire is going to do with a Fire Festival, but also just in general, it's crazy. Um, there were riots, as I mentioned in last week's podcast, that there were riots that took place in Nepal. Um, the government had banned social media in many of its forms, and the younger generation in Nepal rioted across Nepal. Not all of it was peaceful. There was violence, there was fire, there was destruction. Um, but one of the notable things and is that one of the rally points, one of the ways that you knew who was, hey, good morning. I'm doing all right. Doing a news podcast. If you want to hang out and talk about news or anything, um, we're live on Instagram over here and Facebook over here. Um, but the young people in Nepal used the One Piece Jolly Roger, the skull and crossbones with Luffy's hat on it, as the flag for rebellion. And as they set the Capitol building ablaze in Nepal, they hung the One Piece flag on the gates of the Nepalese Capitol building. There is an iconic shot that was taken of a kid climbing down from the gates of the Nepalese Capitol building. And people are already saying that it's most likely going to be like Time Magazine's photo of the year, and that that's going to be a historic moment that kids are going to see in their textbooks. And one of the things I've heard people joking about this week is that now that One Piece has been included in Rebellion, it's also banned in Indonesia and other countries as well. But now that One Piece is officially included in the Rebellion, um, they're actually going to have to teach One Piece in history, um, because now it's officially part of, history in that capacity. You can't just say they hung the flag of some cartoon. You got to like let them know what was going on. Um, but One Piece was part of the Nepalese rebellion, and so that'll be a little moment of history. Also, one of the interesting points about that, the new prime minister, because the prime minister of Nepal stepped down in this process, the new prime minister of Nepal was elected over a Discord discussion and vote inside Discord. So they literally burned down the Capitol, hung up a one piece flag, and then elected a new prime minister over Discord. I'm officially too old for this world. It'll be okay though. House of David, the series that is on Amazon, will be premiering season 2 on October 5th. There's a documentary coming out on October 12th on the hardcore Christian band Pillar. If you are a child of the late 90s slash early 2000s and you've seen Pillar, and I'm kind of like, I say this now and I'm like, oh man, I want to go listen to some Pillar. I haven't listened to Pillar in forever, but there's a documentary coming out on them uh, called Beyond the Front Line. Uh, President Trump has filed a 15 billion Cosplay for Christ says yes pillar, and as you should, because I'm sure they've made new music, but man, I have like the way that early stuff hit, like the 2000s, was about perfect. President Trump has filed a $15 billion defamation lawsuit against the New York Times. That's scary. Um, Japan is setting records right now with longevity in people's lives. Forgive me if you hear my dog snoring. She is like chopping up whole like lumber yards over there. Japan is setting records for life longevity. There are now over 100,000 people in Japan over the age of 100. So obviously they're doing something right. Um, Over 100,000 people aged of over 100. Bonkers. Um, Again, if you're joining in on the lives, can't talk about this week's news without talking about political stuff in some aspects. So please be kind to each other in the comments. Um, a Michigan Office Depot employee was fired this week after allegedly refusing to print posters for a vigil honoring Charlie Kirk. The Office Depot employee said it was propaganda and they refused to print it. There's video of it, the whole altercation, but that's rough. Dubai, India has announced that it intends to be a completely cashless city by 2026, that they will be completely digital currency and credit cards and such by next year. And as terms of a city, that's how their operating plan is going to be. Luigi Mangione this week had his terrorism charges dropped. The court stated that they could not charge or define terrorism based solely on what he did, and that the terrorism portions of his charges will be dropped. Um, Also, President Trump went to England this week and had a meal and a whole fancy British thing with King Charles, and uh, lots of awkward moments and jokes transpired. A couple notable things is that the protest level was very heavy towards President Trump in England. Um, Thousands and thousands of people flooded the streets to protest his arrival. The numbers are just up there, but someone went all the way to take the steps to project videos of Trump and Epstein on the side of Windsor Castle on Tuesday. Um, the Thames Valley Police have said that 4 people have been arrested in this public stunt. These people literally broadcast massive movie theater level videos of President Trump and Epstein together on the side of Windsor Castle. So I'm not applauding that, but I'm saying it is a creative way to protest something, to be actually broadcast video on the side of a castle. We don't get that kind of opportunity in America to broadcast on castles. Let's see. I'm gonna skip that one. We don't need that. Uh, let's see. The Labubu Corporation, which is Pop Mart, the Chinese corporation that's over Labubu figures, has plunged $13 billion in 3 weeks. 13 billion in 3 weeks. Um, and that the founder of Labubu, Wang Ning, his net worth has dropped by almost $6 billion. Um, First of all, you made $13 billion on Labubu. That's bananas. And that you still have $6 billion. I'm like, guys, you just got to remember, Disney bought all of Star Wars and all of Marvel for 4 billion each. And Labubu is sitting at 13. That's just bonkers. China has announced that it is going to build the world's tallest bridge later this month. It'll be a $280 million mega project. It will be over the gonna butcher this name. Huajing. Oh, okay, it's not bad. The Huajing Grand Canyon. And it's going to be so tall that you can fit two Eiffel Towers under it. Um, you'll be able to fit two full Eiffel Towers under this bridge. Um, and that it will be a major growth for travel in China. Um, the dodo birds, which have been extinct for 300 years in our world, are looking to make a comeback. Scientists at the Colossal Biosciences De-Extinction Company in Texas um, have grown lots of different things back to life, but been working on primordial germ cells of the Nicobar pigeons, the dodo's closest real living relative, and they're planning to be able to bring the dodos back from extinction within the next 5 years. Y'all, we've seen how this movie plays out. Listen, I can understand if our society and our country is overrun because we decide to bring dinosaurs back. But we're going to be pretty humiliating if our country is taken down because we brought back dodo birds and they took us out. So I'm just saying, I don't know if it's worth it. Um, it seems like a bad life choice. Uh, Covered all these. Okay, that's the wrong one. Go back to this next news segment. We did these guys. Sorry, being organized isn't always my strongest suit. All right, jumping in right. Here we go. The NFL player for the Atlanta Falcons, Nate Carter, has spoken heavily outward this week about discipleship and calling people to be not just believers in Christ, but disciples of Christ, which is, a bold move. Um, but proud of him and encouraging him for him to do that. Let's see. The Super Mario Galaxy movie was announced that it will be coming out in April of 2026. Uh, like people are kind of sad that they're not doing Super Mario World before they do Super Mario Galaxy, but I mean, you take what you can take. We're getting more Mario movies. Sean Astin of Goonies, of Stranger Things, of Lord of the Rings, of 51st Date fame, is now the president of the SAG-AFTRA. So he's in charge of SAG-AFTRA for that. Um, BBC News decided this week to do an article and story on Ren Collective. Cheers, to my favorite worship band. But Ren Collective uh, said that they, in their article, that they were just a Bible study group that got wildly out of control, and they've turned into what they are now. They are my favorite, like, people for worship music and one of my favorite live things, but they're just a worship group that talks about depression and talks about hard things, and it's just beautiful and it's really good. Their song "Fight of My Life" is one of my all-time favorite songs right now. They do a lot of good stuff, but I was happy for them to actually be featured on BBC News, so good for them. More than 90,000 Jeeps have been recalled this week due to a potential sudden loss of drive power. So if you have a Jeep, make sure you check that out and make sure you do that. In the world of wrestling, Rey Mysterio, legendary luchador, showed up to put a belt on his son Dominic. And they're throughout the storyline, they don't like each other and all that jazz. But Dominic actually won the AAA championship as well as the Intercontinental Championship, which makes him a mega champion. And his dad showed up to put the belt on him. And I know that had to be a great moment for them as father and son. So congratulations to the Mysterios. Um, there's an investigation underway at UNC Chapel Hill, which is a school not far from me. UNC Chapel Hill had large number of vandalism messages that were sprawled across campus in red and black paint. Um, things that said, um, I told you I love you with like blood splatters and things like that were painted across UNC Chapel Hill. Um, yeah. And so that's being investigated. There was also an active shooter at UNC Wilmington last night. I don't know if there was anyone actually shot based on the news that's the last I heard it, but there was an active shooter at UNC Wilmington last night. Limp Bizkit is set to drop their first song in 4 years. So when you hear that, maybe you're like me and you're like, wait, Limp Bizkit put out music 4 years ago? Yes, they did. Um, but Limp Bizkit is about to drop a new single uh, that is for the Battlefield 6 soundtrack, which will be out on October 10th. But Limp Bizkit is dropping a new song in which they talk about missing Chester Bennington, the former lead singer of Linkin Park. That feels really wrong to say. Um, but the title of Limp Bizkit's new song is already causing controversy, which if Limp Bizkit is not causing some form of drama, then they're not doing it right. But the title track for Limp Bizkit's new song is Making Love to Morgan Wallen by Limp Bizkit. Yes, they are dropping a new song, and it's called Making Love to Morgan Wallen, and it drops on October 10th. Now, according to like sources, Morgan Wallen is not mentioned in the song, and nothing about it has anything to do with country music. But Limp Bizkit titled their song "Making Love to Morgan Wallen," so that'll drop October 10th with the Battlefield soundtrack. Uh, WWE wrestler and ex-husband. Heyo, Rushmore shows is Heyo Hector. What's up, Rushmore? Um, uh, Andrade, former husband of Charlotte Flair, and fun fact, Andrade and Charlotte Flair's wedding was officiated by the real life Nacho Libre, Frey Tormenta. Um, and Kelly says that the Limp Bizkit song sounds like an instant classic. Yeah, yeah, it does. But Andrade has officially left the WWE. And it is stated that it had something to do with a disciplinary issue, that it wasn't any of the typical things that we would associate with problematic behavior, but he has left the WWE over behavioral issues. And I have no, I'm not like legitimately speculating on this, but I feel like if you had a pretty public divorce and you had to work with your ex-wife in entertainment every day, it probably wouldn't be the smoothest like work environment. Yeah, they got divorced a while back. Kelly. Yeah, I want to say about a year ago. Whenever Charlotte came back is when they had just gotten divorced. Gerard Way launches a new band alongside of some bandmates from the Interrupters. Gerard Way's new band is called the Mock-Ups. Um, they have not put out a official release date yet, um, but it's giving ska tinged alt energy for what they're planning to do with it. So the mock-ups featuring Gerard Way and the Interrupters will be coming out soon. Uh, Demon Slayer Infinity Castle opened to $33 million on its opening day, which is the biggest for an anime film ever. And it's chart topping in the fact that it's surpassing large Disney films in its box office and um, as it's continuing to release. And if you're aware, this movie previously released in the Asia regions. And now it's just coming to America and it's coming to more English audiences. But the film is on track to hit $1 billion if it keeps up at this pace. Uh, I watched it. It was good. The English, like I've seen it in English and Japanese. It's just it does feel a little bit long. There was also news this week, and I'll cover that there was some chaos in a theater that was streaming, or that was showing uh, Demon Slayer, but we'll get to that. Um, Ohio is going to allow Dolly Parton Imagination Library to sign up from the hospital at birth. If you're aware, the Dolly Parton Imagination Library provides books to elementary age children. And in Ohio, you will be allowed to sign up for the Dolly Parton Library at the hospital before the baby's even gone home. So they're serious about their literacy there. Um, yeah, I mentioned earlier that Nate is pushing his thing on Facebook. That's good. Uh, Mike Wolf of American Pickers and his girlfriend Letitia Klein were in a severe car accident this week. Both were hospitalized. Um, they have now been released, but they were in serious condition in the process. This past week, Robert Redford died, one of the most legendary actors in the world, uh, the quintessential leading man, and just, kind of the gold standard for a lot of acting, passed away this week at the age of 89 years old. Classes were canceled this week at Delta State University as a student was found hanging from a tree on campus. A lot of people, Rushmore says Billy from Game Chasers. Uh, a lot of people have had different speculation about this hanging at Delta State. It is sad news, no matter what. Uh, Covered that. Today, Superman is officially streaming on HBO Max. So if you want to watch Superman Save a Squirrel, uh, Guy Gardner poke a monster in the eye, or Lex Luthor Scream 1A, you can now watch that on repeat uh, on HBO Max, which I will absolutely be doing. Um, Bobby Hart, the songwriter from the Monkees, also passed away this week at the age of 86. If you are local to Lumberton and my area, there has been a smoothie fitness place here called Protein Blends. Protein Blends is announcing that they are officially under new ownership, renovation, and a new name. They will be called Blessed Cafe. It will be a Christian cafe with a great atmosphere as they're advertising. There will be a Christian cafe opening up where Protein Blends has been here in Lumberton. Yes, I covered Fred Durst. And the Interrupters. Got that too. Clips, which is the duo of Pusha T and Malice, became the first rappers in the world to perform at Vatican City. Um, Pusha T and Malice performed alongside John Legend, um, as they did Ordinary People, The Birds Don't Sing, and such in St. Peter's Square. So they are the first rappers to perform alongside the Vatican City. So congratulations to Pusha T and Malice. Not the first rappers I would have imagined to be performing in the Vatican, but that's cool. John Cena has 6 dates remaining in his farewell tour. And after that, you won't be able to see him. His last 6 remaining dates are WrestlePalooza this Saturday versus Brock Lesnar, a performance in October 11th at Crown Jewel in Perth, November 11th on Raw, November 17th on Raw, and then Survivor Series and War Games November 29th, and then his last date will be in December. Uh, I believe I saw the 13th, but there is some speculation with that. Covered that. Let's back that up. I think I saw. There we go. Um, this week, emo kids around the world had their dreams come true as during an Ice Nine Kills performance, doing a song called Work of Art, Rhea Ripley of the WWE battled Art the Clown from Terrifier on stage over a labubu. These are all word salad things that should not be in the same sentence, but by golly, they are. Rhea Ripley battled Art the Clown and then was air quotes, and I'm air quoting, obviously, uh, was murdered on stage by Art the Clown over a labubu. And Rhea Ripley has stated that this has been one of the greatest experiences of her life. So, if you're an Ice Nine Kills fan and a Rhea Ripley fan and a Terrifier fan, you just had the best day ever. Um, yeah. 21 Pilots dropped their new album Breach, which is wonderful this week. And Breach is potentially in the process of charting to #1 on the billboards. It's been well received. It finished the storyline of their 10-year long story of Clancy and Dima and the Torchbearer and the Banditos and all those things. It's a great album. Just personally speaking, the tracks Tally, Downstairs, Garbage, and City Walls are my favorite. It is maybe one of the most heavily spiritual themed albums of their catalog since Blurry Face or maybe even Vessel. Um, but there's a lot of good heart to it. It's got some bops in it. It's got a love song, and I don't necessarily like love songs. In a lot of ways, it's got a love song called Days Lie Dormant, and it's just kind of a banger. Coffee prices are set to surge worldwide as tariffs and just the cost of coffee as a commodity are growing and becoming more and more. Delilah, lay down, boo. Your little nails are click clacking too much. Lay down, lay down. Um, John Daly, the punk rock golfer that he is, set a new PGA Tour championship record, but not in a great way. John Daly set the record for most strokes ever taken on a single hole to kick off the Sanford Invitational. John Daly needed 19 strokes to complete hole number 12 during the first round of the Sanford Invitational. Y'all, 19 strokes on one hole is some my level of golfing, not some professional level golfing. So John Daly, 19 strokes, that one hole. Demon Slayer, again, doing good. Already covered Brigatzi. Um, Andor also won some Emmys. Emmys were big for nerd culture this week. The Penguin won 9 Emmys, including Kristen Milioti winning for Best Actress, as she absolutely deserved, and Andor winning for Best Writing. Um, was a big deal. The studio made history. The TV show The Studio on Apple made history as the most awarded comedy ever with 13 Emmy wins in 1 year. In a touching note, if you've played the Hollow Knight video game series, you know a lot of their characters look like little bugs and skeletons and stuff like that. In Hollow Knight's Silk Song, there was a boss who is named Seth, who is a tribute to a fan who passed away from cancer. Team Cherry, which is the people who made the game, actually collaborated with this young man named Seth before his death to bring his character to life. Um, Seth made a little drawing of what his character should look like, and they had the team do it up well. And he's a boss in Hollow Knight Silk Song. So, congratulations to Seth, his family, and gamers worldwide with that. Uh, yeah. Again, political stuff. Be nice. Um, I don't know if this is political. It's just weird in some ways. Uh, the different NFL teams throughout this week recognized or didn't recognize the whole Charlie Kirk situation in different ways. And one of the most different ways we've seen is that the Kansas City Chiefs owner, Clark Hunt, announced that they would be handing out 60,000 red scarves to the entire crowd at Arrowhead. Um, they would play like 15 minutes of Charlie Kirk videos before the game, but then the words printed on the scarves were the weird things. Um, Not weird, but it was like it caused some debate and discussion among the NFL crowds. But the red scarves that were given out said this is not normal. Um, and people took it in different manners and means and things like that. But that was the scarves that were handed out at the Kansas City Chiefs. Uh, if you were here last week, then you heard that the Broadway show Cabaret is shutting down early because actor Billy, uh, I forgot his last name. That was last week's news. But the main MC of Cabaret shut down early because the Billy Porter got sepsis and had to shut down. They had another cast member that went down this week, actor Price Waldman. Um, had a medical emergency and completely froze and went down during a performance on Friday, September 12th, and had to be rushed to the hospital middle of the show and an understudy step in immediately. So Cabaret is apparently cursed um, by what people are seeing. With that, go through this round of news real quick. Let me back that up. Oh, okay. A Knight of Seven Kingdoms, which is a Game of Thrones prequel series, will officially be starting off on January. That'll be kicking off the beginning of the year. So two more and more Game of Thrones series. Central Perk, the iconic coffee shop from the series Friends, is getting a New York City location later this year. There's already a Central Perk in Boston that is Friends themed, and there will be one opening in Times Square later this year. There was a lot of debate over what churches should say and not say in regards to the Charlie Kirk shooting and how much it should be spent on it. One of the most controversial things that happened this weekend in terms of church world with this is a Virginia pastor um, that took his whole sermon to not only address it, but to condemn it and to condemn Charlie Kirk uh, as a person as part of his sermon. Reverend Doctor Howard John Wesley, um, had a lot to say in those terms, and his responses are going viral in some of the worst ways for the things that he said. If you've seen Reverend John Wesley's commentary or his message on this, it's something interesting to see. I'm not telling you to watch it. I'm not telling you to not watch it. I'm saying uh, before you like, if you go off of just one quote, it was very strong and heated, and he had a lot to say with it. So Reverend Doctor John Wesley, um, and a couple of the quotes that he said in there were, "Tell me I ought to have compassion for the death of a man who had no respect for my own life. How you died does not redeem how you lived." And like saying that it was real heated. So, um, Reverend Dr. John Wesley, Virginia, had a lot to say with it. And, I had my own commentary on what should and shouldn't be addressed in the pulpit. And again, listen to God, listen to the Holy Spirit. Don't follow everything social media tells you. The end. Um, Cameron Crowe, the guy who wrote Almost Famous and Say Anything and Elizabethtown and a lot of properties that I love, is putting out a biography called The Uncool, which is his story of growing up as a underage journalist for the Rolling Stone magazine. He is going to be doing a book tour, and part of his book tour means that during selective cities, he is going to be going along with Cheryl Crow and Kate Hudson as part of his book tour. So that's a pretty interesting lineup and cool experience. I don't think it's going to be anywhere near me, but it's cool. I'm potentially going to see Cameron on October or on November 8th in Connecticut. So that's neat. Um, Disney Springs got robbed this week or a little bit earlier. If you're familiar with Disney Springs, there is a restaurant that's on a lake that looks like a boat, much like the boat from One Piece. It's kind of Steamboat Willie-esque. A man in scuba gear went into the lake, came up on the backside of the restaurant, took off his scuba gear, went in and robbed the people as they were counting up the money from the day and disappeared into the lake and was not caught. I'm just saying, of all the heists, that's kind of smooth. Um, yeah. If you are a if you remember a lot of our civil rights history, Ruby Bridges was one of the first people to be kind of a torchbearer for civil rights and desegregation of schools. Um, this week, she took an appearance at New York Fashion Week on a show that highlighted trailblazers for equality. And so a very adult Ruby Bridges showed up to be a part of that, and it was pretty cool. Uh, Jerry of Ben and Jerry's has resigned from his company after 47 years because their overall broad owner, Unilever, has said, kind of tried to and from what he's reporting, tried to silence him on speaking freely and standing up for things. And It was with a disagreement. Hey, Santana, I hope you're doing good. Um, Jerry said that he resigned over a disagreement with the parent company, which had owned Ben and Jerry's for 25 years. Part of the deal was that he would have the ability to be autonomous and pursue his values. And when they tried to tell him, "Hey, don't talk about these things," he said no. So Jerry has officially left Ben and Jerry's. Oh, because he said that any activism he tried to take was silenced by the company, and he wasn't going to roll with that. There are now 500 American billionaires that are still too poor to make the Forbes 400, which are the 400 richest people in the world. So chalk that up, process that. There are 900 billionaires in the United States. You hear that math? 900 billionaires in the United States. And 400 of them are not rich enough to make, or 500 of them are not rich enough to make the top. First of all, what are we doing, y'all? How are we at a place where we have 900 billionaires in one country? yet people struggle for money. I get it. I can't expect people to not be people and capitalism and all the things, but dang. Santana, I'm sad I didn't get to see you more either. Girl, you made my whole day showing up at church though, and I knew you were in the middle of loss and family and life and everything else, but man, it was so good to see you. I I I'm barely seeing myself, but you made my whole day and I'm so glad I did get to see you. Um Tens of thousands of people gathered at in Wilkesboro, North Carolina, which is on the way to Boone. It's one of those places that has one of those giant white crosses that you see on the side of the interstate. Um, Tens of thousands of people gathered at that for a Faith Fest, which is like a Christian music festival. Santana, all the love, girl. You look good, and I know you're in a back brace and you're doing all the things, but I'm gonna have to talk to you about patience because I'm gonna have some spinal surgery probably coming up this year, and I'm gonna have to learn from you. Um, but they said that tens of thousands of people came to the Faith Fest in Wilkesboro, North Carolina, which is so crazy because there's literally nothing there. But they did that, and it says that over 100 were baptized on the spot, and over 1,000 people gave their lives to Christ at this event at Faith Fest that took place in Wilkesboro, North Carolina. I'm gonna drive by there on October 9th, somewhere in there. I've got to go to Boone for a show. Um, Ed Sheeran has announced that he has recorded an album that will be released upon his death. Um, that it's already recorded, it's ready, and that it'll come out once he dies. Um, that he did an LP that said pause, one that's fast forward, rewind, stop. They're going to be that progression. Um, uh, he said that the last album would be called Eject, and that'll be coming up in his future, uh, which is kind of crazy. It's also really smart. There was a school shooting. Santana, what was the what to? Um, just because I'm rabbit trailing in my brain. Um, there was a school shooting that took place in on suburban Chicago. Three people were killed, including an assistant principal. That's just another school shooting we had this week. Didn't get a ton of coverage. I covered that. Oh yeah, Ed Sheeran put out an album called Play. He's got all the next album titles planned out. It's going to be all the ones that are on a cassette tape. So like play, fast forward, rewind, stop. But he's already recorded a full album that'll come out after he dies called Eject. Um, and it won't come out until he dies. So that's a whole weird life choice thing of what to do with that. That could be our news. I'm going to double check and make sure I've gone through all the stories. I think I have. It is kind of cool. I haven't planned like an album to drop after stuff or whatever, but I try and make sure that if I'm working on a book project or whatever, that people have access so they could finish it or release it if I'm die. But the one thing I have done is put out I've planned my funeral. Um, the music for my funeral is planned. There are three songs I want played at my funeral, and if you literally want to know, just look on Facebook, type Hector Mirai funeral, and there will be a post that comes up that says which songs I want played. Because I'm serious, I know what I want played at my funeral, and I want it appropriately volumed as well. Don't give me any quiet, boring funeral. Um, I do think that's our news for the morning. And before we go any further, I want to say thank you all for taking time to hang out with us. We're going to do our Bible reading in just a minute, but for y'all that are on Facebook or Instagram, I mentioned these things earlier while I was getting stuff together, but I am going to be at Greensboro Comic Con tomorrow. I'm heading to Greensboro tonight to set up for that. Then the next show I will be at will be uh, Boardwalk Comic Con. Um, in Myrtle Beach on October 4th and 5th, and then I'll be in Boone October 11th, and then Geek Church in Fayetteville on October 19th, and then there's a show on November 22nd in Reedsville, North Carolina. Um, I'll be there for that. Santana says, after my grandma's funeral, I don't think I want one. People acted the fool, and I was laughing on the front row. Listen, funerals bring out the worst in us and the best in us sometimes. At my grandma's funeral, which sounds like maybe we had some similar experiences. At my grandma's funeral, my aunt tried to drag my mom to the front row and lay on top of the casket. Um, and my mom refused to do it. And so my aunt went out there and sprawled on the casket, and then my aunt wouldn't talk to my mom for the rest of her life because she didn't like lay up there on the coffin of at the funeral. And it was just like wild how people responded. Um, Jeremiah asked what Comic Con. I'll be at Greensboro Comic Con, Boardwalk Comic Con, Boone Comic Con, Fayetteville Fan Fest, and then there's one in Reedsville, and I got to look up the name of it. And also, I'll be part of a live stream this Saturday for FaithCon on sharing the love of Christ in the convention world. So that'll be kind of a cool thing. All right, let's get to our Bible reading. So if you've not joined us for this before, we're going to roll some dice and we're going to figure out what chapter of the Bible we're going to read today. Dump out some dice. Follow my ASMR people. All right, I've got a rock, paper, scissors dice. The rock is the Old Testament. The New Testament is scissors, 'cause it's a two. And the paper is the whole Bible because it covers everything. All right, so we're going to see if we're reading Old Testament, New Testament, or the whole Bible. Old Testament. Here we go. Let's go for some Psalms. Let's go for some Psalms. All right, I'm going to roll two D20s and subtract one to see which book of the Bible read because there are 39 books in the Old Testament, and since we're rolling two dice, got to subtract one to be able to get one. All right. Uh, rolling two dice to see which book of the Bible we're reading out of the Old Testament. All right, we've got a 6 and a 17, which would give us 23. But since we're subtracting one, that's going to give us 22. So we are going to go to the 22nd book of the Old Testament. Let's see what that is. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Y'all, we've landed in Song of Solomon. It's about to get real romantic up in her. Uh, sorry if I cause any of y'all to stumble with my seductive reading. The Song of Solomon. Oh boy. Um, okay, how many chapters are in this bad boy? Y'all, if I could be talking about fawns or gazelles, oh, all scripture is profitable for a reading, right? Okay, there are eight in this chapter, or eight in this book. So there is a D8. We're going to roll a D8 and see which chapter of Song of Solomon we're reading because it's going to get funky. 5. Oh, we are reading Song of Solomon 5. Oh boy. Oh. Tristan says PG rated. Oh no. Um We did our roll for initiative Bible reading, and we landed on Song of Solomon, and we got Song of Solomon chapter 5. Wrote a song about it. I'd like to hear it. Here it go. See, it's gonna get funky. Oh, Lord of all creation. Here we go. I don't want to do this. All right. So we rolled for Song of Solomon chapter 5 in our Bible reading with the dice, and I feel betrayed by the dice. Okay. Hmm. I'm gonna do this with a straight face, and it's gonna be wonderful. Here we go. I have come into my garden, my sister, my bride. I have gathered my myrrh with my spice. Oh, I have eaten my honeycomb and my honey. I have drunk my wine and my milk. Eat, friends, and drink. Drink your fill of love. Yeah, I'm gonna highlight that one. That was pretty good. Um, Eat, friends, and drink. Drink your fill of love. I slept, but my heart was awake. Listen, my beloved is knocking. Open to me, my sister, my darling, my dove, my flawless one. My head is drenched with dew, my hair with the dampness of the night. I have taken off my robe. Must I put it on again? Mm. I have washed my feet. Must I soil them again? This is like Baby It's Cold Outside, the Hebrew edition. Um, he's like, I've washed. Am I gotta get dirty again? My feet are clean. Do I gotta? He's like, Baby it's cold. Oh man, my beloved thrust his hand through the latch opening. My heart began to pound for him. I arose to open for my beloved, and my hands dripped with myrrh, my fingers with flowing myrrh on the handles of the bolt. I opened for my beloved, but my beloved had left. He was gone. My heart sank at his departure. I looked for him, but did not find him. I called him, but he did not answer. The watchmen found me, and they made their rounds. And as they made their rounds in the city, they beat me, they bruised me, they took my cloak. Those watchmen of the walls, daughters of Jerusalem, I charge you, if you find my beloved, what will you tell him? Tell him that I am faint with love. Yes, it is absolutely uncomfortable, Tristan. How is your beloved better than others, most beautiful of women? How is your beloved better than others that you so charge us? My beloved is radiant and ruddy, outstanding among 10,000. His head is purest gold, his hair is wavy and black as a raven, his eyes are like doves by the water streams washed in milk. Mounted like jewels, his cheeks are like the beds of spice yielding perfume, his lips are like lilies dripping with myrrh, his arms are rods of gold set with topaz. His body is like polished ivory decorated with lapis lazuli. His legs are pillars of marble set on bases of pure gold. His appearance is like Lebanon, choice as its cedars. His mouth is sweetest itself. He is altogether lovely. This is my beloved. This is my friend, daughters of Jerusalem. Um, Santana says, God, what are you teaching us here? Exactly. Exactly. Well, first of all, um, this sounds like uh yes, Kelly, you came back for the wrong thing. We landed on Song of Solomon. Um, the beloved shows up in the middle of the night, like 2 a.m. WYD text, and then leaves. She goes out to try and find him, and she gets beat down. So first of all, avoid these nightly hookups. And second, don't go out into them streets because them streets will get you hurt. I don't know, man. Let's just stick to that one phrase that was pretty good in verse. I guess that's one. Is that one? Yeah, it's one. Eat, friends, and drink. Drink your fill of love. Um, uh, Eat friends, drink your fill of love. That's where I'm gonna park it right there. That's the takeaway. Oh man. Uh Miss Santana says booty calls in the Bible, question mark, question mark. Do you not know about David and Bathsheba? Kelly says Harlequin chapter 3 verse 1. Um Tristan says there is so much you can't take from Song of Solomon. Yes, there is. There really is. There's a lot of good stuff about love. But here's the thing I want to just put into perspective as someone who spent like 2 years, the last 2 years of my life with church studying Solomon. Solomon had no idea what he was doing with anything. And that man had 700 wives plus concubines and everything else. And it's just like, buddy, um, that's you don't know what you're doing, player. Um, but all that being said, eat, drink your fill of love. There you go. Um, drink while you can. But no, there's David and Bathsheba was absolutely a late night hookup that was not a wise life choice. Um, but golly gee, Batman, there's a lot to that. Whew. Not what I listen. Every time I roll an Old Testament dice, I'm more concerned about it's going to be some like super negative, judgmental, condemning thing against like I'm worried it's going to be something that's going to be like gonna offensive. This is just like no, let's have the most awkward morning ever. I can't shy away from scripture because it's scripture. So if I'm going to trust it, I'm going to trust it. But going random into it is it's perilous. Jeremiah says, "Do I have any Pokemon cards? I do have some Pokemon cards. Do you want some Pokemon cards, Jeremiah? Because I can mail you some. Uh, but yeah. Before I bounce out of here, I'll take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters. I'm gonna head over there real quick. Um, and I'll say this: this year has been an interesting year in terms of paying attention and learning how Faith and Fandom operates in terms of expenses and things like that. And honestly, the more I've looked, the more I realized um I couldn't do what I do without y'all. Um Miss Santana says now she's about to do a study on Song of Songs. Let's go, girl. We did Vertical did one. I think it's probably been since you've been gone. We did one, and I'm gonna say super awkward. I was never cool with it, but it's all good. Um, Jeremiah said, "Yes, Santana, send me your address on Facebook and Messenger, and I'll mail out some cards. I'm doing a show this weekend, so I'll go ahead and pull some out to mail Jeremiah." Um, Jeremiah said he's got two thick Pokemon books. I can hold on. Let me show you this. I just got this weekend. I can get to it without dying. I was at a Comic Con in Havelock, North Carolina, and won this 10 graded melody card, and it's in Japanese. It was pretty baller. Um, and I have one of those notebooks of cards as well. Mine's right here. I make sure I keep a small one because I don't want to overdo it. Um, this has all my Pokemon cards and a few Lorcana cards, which are Disney, and some One Piece cards as well. But, I can gloat over my card collection some other time. But that's cool, Jeremiah. I'll try and send you some good stuff. But after spending the year I have really actually paying attention to what Faith and Fandom costs, because I promise you I've done this for like a decade and didn't actually pay attention to finances, and I actually just looked at numbers this year. Kelly, I will message you as soon as I get done with this. Um, Once I got done with things for this year, like I realized I really couldn't be doing this without all y'all, and y'all have helped make it possible. And so I want to thank you all for the encouragement you've provided through this whole process. So Patreon supporters, Jackie Kraft, Kelly Townsend, Alan Wallace, Fab Quack, Rivka and Tristan Birch, Dorothy Martin Winston, Michelle Stewart, Miss Lynn Turner, David Brooks, Jeff Weimer, Colin Sproles, Jamie Montgomery, Matt, or the Coleman family, Jonathan Herman, Ron Petit, Gear Saber Cosplay, Scott Ward, Alicia Glenn. I'm gonna see y'all tomorrow. Jay Shee, Jason Crutchfield, Mike Perna, Todd Turner, John Jacobs, Zach Harris, Caleb Grimm, Jeanette Skaggs, Jason Bullock, Christina Ray, Sarah Lewis, Patrick Gale, Rebecca Godlove, and Adam Davis. Thank you all for the encouragement and the ways that you have provided. Um, and I'm not going to say like why, but also a special thank you to uh, the Nortons with Gear Saber Cosplay for just being a big blessing to my family in times of right now and everything. Just to let y'all know now that I have, because I think I had a MRI since the last podcast. Um, Currently, where things stand is I've got three bulging discs that are doing damage in my neck, and then there's some stuff that is broken and a pocket of fluid on my lower lumbar spine. Um, and figuring out what the process is going to be like for this is going to be the figuring it out portion. I have a consult on October 6th, and we'll kind of go from there. If I'm guessing, I'll have surgery in December. And my goal is to be viable and moving by Captain's Comics Expo in uh into February. Santana, not that the whole thing's broken, but there are chunks broken off. Like, that they're like I can send you the MRI photo or the MRI photos, but like some of your lower spinal pieces almost look like butterfly wings. The butterfly wing portions are broken off of mine. Which I guess is just from impact and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But we're working on it. And so I'm trying to be smarter with my life choices. I'm trying to get help when I can for shows. Uh I'm trying to buy a lighter weight DJ rig and get some lightweight column speakers and stuff because I've got a lot of DJing over the next 6 weeks. Halloween is my biggest DJ time, and I've got like 43 events. Um, but all that being said, I'm trying to be wise. I'm trying to take care of me and be responsible with what God has given me. So I just want to say thank y'all for supporting. Thank y'all for praying. I hope that your week is filled with good news and that you are able to be purveyors of good news and that God would bless you and that you would have just a good opportunity in Him and with Him to be everything He's calling you to be. Love y'all. I'm praying for y'all, and I hope to see y'all at a con real soon. Bye.